All right. I think we're live. Looks like we're recording.
Mm.
All right. So, how you feeling?
I'm kind of like,
Oh,
when is Izzy going to interrupt us?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like you're a little tense.
You know what it is?
Yeah.
I feel like one of the things that appeal to me about the podcast
Uh-huh.
is not being on video.
Oh, I see.
But it's okay. It's okay. It's good.
Well, I mean, we may not even use the video. I'm just kind of
Yeah.
experimenting. I
No,
mean,
I
this
like
is,
it. I like it.
yeah. I think all this is supposed to be more of an experiment than anything.
Mm.
So, we'll see how it goes.
Mm.
Hopefully, we can keep the video because I like when you're on video. But,
Mm.
okay. So, why are we doing this? What are we, I think it's
I think
appropriate.
I should be asking you, why are we doing this? Yeah, just one day you're like, let's start a podcast. I mean, you've
Yeah,
been saying that for a while.
I have.
And then one day all this stuff showed up. Like, oh, okay, we're doing this.
Yeah. It is a lot of stuff, considering I don't know how to use any of it. But why do I want to do this? I think the number one reason I've always talked about is that whenever you're sharing stuff, it's a gift. Whenever you're talking about the things you love or just feeling this urge to want to share the good news,
Mm.
I see, well, it's amazing to see just from my point of view, but to see how engaged people get and how sold they get. I want that to be available. So that's the first reason. The other one is, we talked about the experiment thing a little while ago, but I think, when I think about the YouTube journey that we had
Mm.
many, many years ago now, wow, time has flown.
Mm.
It was a really great time.
Mm.
I think your personal development as well as mine was just skyrocketing. And I think people that watched our videos and commented and built relationships with us is definitely a part of that. But just the act of doing it in and of itself, I think is great. I personally speaking, I've been a content hedonist for a long time, just always watching things that are teaching me stuff. But I think I've developed a new definition of learning by this one guy. I'm not even going to get into who he is, but learning is actually changing your behavior, right?
Mm.
So it's not just about knowing information. It's about taking that information and something is different with your life. And when I try to even relay some of the things that is rolling around in my head, it's very messy and gross. And I'm not doing anything with it in my life. And even when I talk about it, there's not much conviction. So, I think ultimately what I want to do is to share from the heart and practice sharing from the heart. And even if I'm thinking out loud, as I start to do that, I think I'll clarify my thinking, and then I'm hoping that it'll inspire me to do more things
Mm-hmm.
that are of value
Mm-hmm.
and worth.
Yeah, I think one of the things that you sold me with is, let's just have a conversation and, record it. Because I don't do well with like having a script in front of me, or if I have to follow it, because I think my perfectionism gets in the way of like, I want to be able to deliver exactly what's on this piece of paper.
Yeah.
And I get so wrapped up in it. And the way that I share, it just comes out so unnatural, and I
Yeah.
feel it and I don't
Yeah.
want to do it.
Yeah.
And it just kind of spirals into
Yeah.
a place I don't want to go.
Yeah. And when the beauty of podcasts is that, even if you're going to a podcast that's talking about business, what you end up doing is getting to know the host or the guests at a much deeper level.
Mm.
And I like that. I think there's a reason why podcasts are still booming, and I think will continue to grow. And it kind of helps us to get rid of the fluff. I mean, we can't do it anyway. Like right now, our life, parenting and just living, this is like the only medium we could even try.
Yeah, we're like sneaking in an episode, or attempting to, while Izzy's napping. And of
Yeah.
course, as soon as we got everything set up, she starts crying. So I
Yeah.
keep looking over at the monitor here.
Yeah. So it's just such a great medium to like get to know someone if that's something that you're interested in. So I think the big question is, well, what can we talk about that's going to be interesting for people? And I think we've brainstormed a little bit. And so
Mm-hmm.
we actually have the name for the podcast, which is Grace, Giggles, and Growing Pains.
Mm.
And ChatGPT helped us come up with this name. If you've not used ChatGPT yet, it's amazing.
What did you put in to render those results?
So I basically just took our brainstorm of what we wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, we want to do a podcast. Give us some podcast names. Yeah, just give us some ideas for podcast names. And it spit back like a list of 20 and I just read them to you, and then there was like 2 or 3 that stood out, and this is the one that was the
Oh yeah,
winner.
this one definitely stuck.
Yeah, and it's always a good sign when you like it, and then you told me just earlier today that you were like, "Oh man, I love that name,"
Yeah.
and so that's always a good sign to me. So I'm excited about that. But Grace, Giggles, and
Growing pain.
Growing Pains. What were some of the things that we brainstormed? Because I'm forgetting some of it now.
You know, I think the thing that well, first of all, I feel like podcasts have taken on a new level of interest for me because, you know, if I'm with the kids or I'm cleaning, like I can't be sitting and like watching YouTube videos, or like I have no interest in sitting down and like paying attention to a show most of the time.
Yeah.
But I love podcasts because especially ones that are easier to listen to, because I could just pop them in my ear while I'm doing things, and I feel like they make more mundane tasks a little bit more bearable, right?
Yeah.
And so I guess just in the season of life that we're in, I was just kind of focusing on what are the things that I want to learn more about, or what am I curious about how other people are doing this. And for me, a lot of it has been around homemaking,
Yeah.
routines, cleaning routines, laundry, you know, how parents with 2 little ones just do life. I'm like, man, like I mean, we're still bumbling and figuring stuff out, but if that's the kind of content, that's the kind of content that would excite me to talk about, because I feel like we're very deep in that, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's kind of the timing of it's cool because it just seems like parenting is not, it's happening later. So people are having a much harder time of it, just like we did. I mean, we didn't start too late. We tried to start having kids when we were around early
I
30s.
think I was 29.
Yeah, you were 29 when we started, and we didn't get to have a kid until you were 34.
34. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's very common to hear about the parenting struggles, like the struggles of having kids to become parents. And I think there's just so much difficulty around the idea of parenting, because it is difficult. But I think what we've always said, even in the worst of times, is that it's worth it. And it's funny, I'm always convincing your brother, who moved to Austin like shortly after we
Like
did.
2 months after we did.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
his wife, my brother and his wife.
yeah. And he was very resistant to having kids, just in general.
Until he met Emmy.
Until he met Emmy. So he's more open to it. But
right.
he also sees us like just struggle the meal times when we can't even sit and enjoy our meal while it's warm. I mean, you hardly ever take your meal with us because it's usually like the nighttime routine of putting the,
Right. I
bathing
like
the
to get
kids.
rid of everyone, and then I like to eat in peace
Yeah, yeah,
by myself.
exactly. So like this speaks to the growing pains part of the name, but I think what we wanted to highlight the most is grace, right? Because there's so many cool stories of miracles, and just when the fog of war disappears, there's actually a lot of really good things that we're so thankful for that we want to share.
Yeah, and I feel like it's easy to forget all of that, but sitting down and reflecting as we're sharing on here is a good way for us to like relive that, and
Yeah,
so we don't forget that it still very much exists in our life. I mean,
yeah,
it very much exists in our life.
yeah,
Because otherwise, I feel like, man, like when I just think about the hell of a year we had last year with Izzy
Yeah.
getting sick, and that'll have to be a whole another episode of
Oh
what
yeah. I
happened.
mean, if there's anyone that doesn't know about our situation that's listening, she got bacterial meningitis. She was in the hospital for 6 weeks. It's pretty
It's
significant.
just short of turning 3 months old. So like it was right after we moved here to
Yeah.
Austin. There were still boxes that needed to be unpacked, and
Yeah. So she had significant brain damage, and we're still
hearing loss.
hearing loss.
Yeah.
So she's catching up on milestones. I mean, thankfully she's okay, especially given how her picture looked in the hospital.
Her MRI, yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot that's going on.
Anyway, so my point was that
Yes.
I think sometimes it's easy for me to get stuck in how hard things have been, and I forget about the grace that continues to show up. And it's not like it just happened during the year that we had, but I don't know, I guess I want to become more sensitive to it too, and to be able to open my eyes to it, because it is, yeah, on the day to day I'm just I feel like, why is this my life? Everything's so hard. It's not how I pictured things to be, and I just had this image of what it would be like to have like two perfectly healthy, children, etc. But yeah.
So going back to the podcast you're inspired by, I mean, I think most recently, let's talk about that because that's still blowing my mind. The
Mm.
connectivity parenting or whatever.
Okay, so as a disclaimer, I don't know. I often get very turned off by a lot of parenting things, whether
Yeah.
it's on Instagram or podcast, because it just. Anyway, I won't get into the details of why I'm turned off, but I'm just generally turned off by a lot of them. It just seems, you know, too this way or that way. But I feel like with this one, I like it because like even the stuff that she talks about, it's like very focused on parenting. She doesn't go into like other issues and whatever. But the the thing that drew me to her name is Michelle something. I forget. Yeah. The podcast
Personal
is
hero.
called Peace and Parenting. And I think what drew me to it was like how similar her story was. So basically she's like a recovering perfectionist and control freak. And I've been meeting with a counselor for, I don't know, probably the last month or so.
Yeah.
And I think that's been like a big theme that we're constantly talking about, and how those are the things that I struggle with a lot. And so this podcast host, she is a parenting coach. She comes from that background, and she also has an education background, which I do as well. So she used to be in the school system.
Mm.
And I, much like Michelle, thought that like once I have kids, like, oh, it's going to be so natural and easy for me. Like I've been around kids all the time. Like she felt like she had it in the bag. So did I in some way. And then, we had Emmy, who was relatively a super easy child.
Yeah.
And then we had Izzy, who, from the womb had very strong opinions about everything. And then she just basically turned things upside down when she was born,
Yeah.
even before she got sick. But I guess, yeah, Michelle was just really humbled by how difficult and different parenting is than what she'd imagined. And so she's tried all these different parenting techniques and nothing stuck. I mean, she started, I think, with attachment parenting, which is basically just being there for your kid at all times, breastfeeding on demand and baby wearing and just doing all the things. And she was doing that out of a place of things that she didn't receive when she was growing up. Like me, she grew up in a very strict household, and her parents were not very like emotionally vulnerable. And so she was like, I want to be this and that and do everything for my child. And I'm going to make all the organic baby food. And I totally did all of that with Emmy too. And then she got to a point where she was so exhausted and depressed
Mm.
because she just burnt herself out. And I can definitely relate to that. And so when I was hearing about this approach of gentle parenting, man, I don't even know where to start. She does emphasize like connecting with your kids, right? So instead of getting them to just comply and do what you want, because ultimately that can lead to raising kids that are people pleasers. And I have that tendency as well to people please. And because Emmy is more compliant,
Mm-hmm.
and now she's about to turn 3, so she
Oh, she's
is
definitely
becoming a little bit more sassy.
full three major. Yeah.
But before that, she's very like, okay, well, the timer went off. It's time for me to go to bed. Like, she would almost remind us that it was bedtime.
Yeah.
And now she's like trying to negotiate. It's like, can I have 2 more minutes? Actually, what about 3?
Yeah.
But,
Or just sandbagging it,
oh,
Not
yeah,
even trying to negotiate. She'll just run off and
or like, if she
pretend
doesn't want to answer us, be like, Emmy, do you want to go to sleep now or in 2 minutes?
yeah.
She'll just silently lift up 2 fingers, like, won't even look our way.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the whole connective parenting thing is, instead of just getting your kids to comply, what if in that moment when they're being defiant, if you can use play and playfulness as a means to connect with them before, having them do the thing that you want them to do, right? And one of the first episodes that I listened to her, Michelle, Peace and Parenting, was that she has a teenager, or like about to be teenage daughter, who like refuses to take out the trash, and she's like, ew, it's gross, I don't want to do it. And as a parent, especially if you've had a hard day, it's like, oh my god, okay, fine, I'll throw it out, like it'll just be faster and easier and whatever, we don't have to do this back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
But she was explaining the importance of teaching them these skills, as like, you live in this household, this is something that you do as someone that lives in this house. And the consequence is that no matter what, she's going to end up taking the trash out. So you
Mm.
don't take away this for them to make it easier for them or for you, but like there are ways of kind of doing a dance so that eventually they'll take out the trash. And so instead of like nagging or,
Mm.
like I'm going to take this away if you don't do this, and just kind of doing, what is that called? Ultimatums,
Mm.
right? So I liked her approach in that you're kind of meeting them in that time of, oh, it's like, oh, yeah, I know. I'm sure you don't want to take out the trash. It is gross, but how
Yeah.
about we go and like you do a little something to make them feel like you're connecting to them, right? So
Mm.
maybe they just need 5 minutes to like sit and talk with you over something before they go and do this thing. But at the end, they don't get out of taking out the trash. And she speaks about how this whole process she's been investing in for a long time. Sometimes it could take months, sometimes it could take a year. But now she has a teenager where the mom can just be like, hey, would you mind taking out the trash? And she gets like a, sure, mom. And she just goes and does it now
Mm.
without all the nagging and the
Mm.
bribing and, punishing or whatever. And I think I feel like, growing up, it was like very black and white. It's like you do it because your parents said it, right? And then I guess when you get older, you find ways to rebel or, yeah. And there was not much of that like connecting or like that, or my parents seeing that, wow, she really doesn't want to do this. She must be, having her time, or even addressing the fact that, like, yeah, no one wants to take out the garbage. Like, no one's
Mm.
ever spoken to that need
Yeah.
or that feeling, right? Or like validating how you feel. And so I thought that was really cool because even with Emmy, I mean, it's such a trip to get her to wash up and brush her teeth or wash her hands. And if I could even find a little bit of room to like play with her and joke around and like chase her into the bathroom, like that's so much easier than like counting down, and like my patience is wearing so thin.
Yeah.
And I just don't like how I show up when I'm annoyed and irritated and I have a list of all these other things that I have to do. So I guess I started, testing out this parenting thing that I was
Yeah.
hearing about, and I've started to see fruits,
Mm.
right? Another big thing, and then you can share. But one of the things I learned from Michelle is special time. And special time is when you dedicate, like, it's every day, and you set like how much ever time makes sense to you. I think she recommends like 15 to 20 minutes, and you're just doing whatever the child wants
Mhm.
uninterrupted
Yeah.
during that time.
Yeah.
So for me, I default to 20 minutes, and it's after Izzy goes to bed. And Emmy and I get to have the special time, and she chooses the activity, and I don't have my phone around. Like, I do whatever it is that she wants.
Mhm.
And I know that she looks forward to it, and it's fun because during the day, like when she is acting out, or, if we are meeting Izzy's needs because she's demanding more of us at her age right now, and Emmy, she's clearly acting up because she wants our attention too, which makes sense. I can let her know, like, hey, Emmy, when we have special time later, what do you want to do? And it kind of like helps her reframe too that, like, okay, mom can't be with me right now, but she's thinking about me and we get to have this time later. And it distracts her in a good way to look forward to this time that we get to connect. And I feel like that has done so much for us because before that, when we would be putting Izzy to bed, Emmy would just be sitting, and that's like her screen time, and she'd be watching TV. But when it comes time to like turn the TV off and get her on the toilet to get to bed, it was just teeth pulling.
Mm.
And by the end of the day, you and I are both so exhausted, right? And it
Yeah.
just wasn't fun. But I found that having like this time with Emmy at the end, it's just so much easier to get her to do what she does. And it's like, okay, we have the special time and now it's time for bed. And I feel like there's less fighting, right? Would you agree on
Well,
her end?
I'm not there for the nighttime.
Well, you're the one that puts her in though.
Yeah, actually, I guess that's a good point. She does go in more willingly.
Yeah, yeah. We play the thing, we do what she wants, and then it's
Yeah.
okay, time to use the bathroom, and then
Yeah.
we go,
Yeah.
and then she's all ready for you,
Yeah.
and you guys have your routine of going in.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a
I
good
mean,
point.
at least from what I've witnessed, it seems like it's less annoying.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. No, I think. I mean, the biggest tell is the washing up because that is the hardest part.
Mm.
I think it's harder for me to tell because I have my own ways of getting her into bed, even if she's unwilling, and it's probably not the right way. It's probably not the connective parenting way.
But you're much more naturally playful with her. That's something that I really
Uh,
struggle with is like when I'm annoyed and I just want to get things done.
yeah,
And then I have to like stop and be playful and joke and make silly sounds. Like that's not me naturally. I
yeah,
think you kind of do that more naturally.
that's true.
You can rough and tumble and chase her and
Yeah,
do all these things, and I'm not about that.
yeah. Well, but it does come at a good time for me because her teenager attitude, her tude is really hard now.
Oh, this is
And
definitely giving us a taste into what it's going to be like having two
exactly.
daughters as teenagers.
Yeah. Oh man, that's probably not even. It's yeah. It's yes. But as much as I like this connected parenting thing resonates with me, and I think it's biblical. I mean, I remember I'm going to butcher the crap out of the story, but there was this one sermon I listened to a long time ago, and the one part that stood out, right, is he was using the story of Jesus basically saying, hey, my yoke is easy, my burden is light, and was saying that like, hey, whenever you feel like a burden, you know, lay it down. He
Mm-hmm.
wants you to lay it down every single time.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, I thought I was like, how can I lay it down? Like there's just things in the world that have to get done, so I should do it. But that only leads to relying on my own strength,
Mm-hmm.
trying to muscle through, and just grit my teeth. And I just, I know that that's not the way. But even in my own mind, I'm like, well, when am I ever gonna, fill out this government paperwork or do my taxes if I'm always just gonna lay it down, right?
Uh-huh.
And yet God promises that like all these things will get taken care of. We got to focus on him first, and like he's saying, focus on him, lay it down, and just take one step at a time towards him. And like the trash story, it will get done,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's still very murky to me, and this is part of the problem. Is like I'm always trying to analyze how it perfectly makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
but I guess what I'm in this circumstance, even though like I have a hard time, you know, in those moments when she's giving me attitude where I'm like, I need to apply to a job or I need to do something important to, provide for my family. All these things are now, it's shedding a new light into how I should approach them and how, like, internally, I'm always trying to muscle through. So, like, in some
Mm-hmm.
ways, I'm trying to impart that into her, like, you got to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not done us any good. We've got a very unique brand of shooting on ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like
Mm-hmm.
saying things should be done this way or we
Mm-hmm.
should do that.
Mm-hmm.
And if our long hiatus from YouTube is any indication, that approach has not worked.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something about this connective parenting that's absolutely applicable in our faith.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to explore more of it. And it's
Mm-hmm.
great that we have this little
Mm-hmm.
this little guinea pig.
Yeah, and I feel like there's just so much racing through my mind right now in terms of like all so the problem with me is like I when I take in too much information, I tend to forget and it's hard for me to share it, but I think sitting down and reflecting
Mhm.
based on like what I'm learning and the actual application of it and
Yeah.
seeing the fruits of it, I want to be able to share more of that. Like, hey, I learned this one principle, right? And then this is what it looked like when it played out with Emmy.
Yeah.
And I think I want to start taking note of that. Because right
Mhm.
now I'm trying to, and this is what I always struggle with is when I get so excited about something and then there's just so much there. And like I have to explain it and I just get lost. And even the trash story made so much sense, but I'm like, oh, I hope that made sense as I was explaining it. But I do know that this is a marathon. I mean, so cliche, but it really is. It's not like this one, you know, and I don't want to knock on gentle parenting or whatever because I know a lot of times it can be very permissive or come off that way. Like you just allow everything and you don't punish your children and it's like, there has to be consequences. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, what am I trying to say? What am I trying to say?
That even though it's
Oh, the marathon thing.
yeah,
Yeah. So I feel like there are things that I'm learning and I know like it's still going to make the day to day hard in a lot of ways.
yeah,
But, I am very encouraged to keep going with it and to just keep investing little bits. And it's good for me too, because it's really, I don't want to say testing my patience, but I feel like it's stretching me in that. And now that based on what I've listened to and what has resonated with me, I'm much more aware of in the moments when I just want to like snap at her to do
Oh
something.
yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna come tickle you, or whatever silly thing that I normally wouldn't do to get out of my comfort zone to do that. And
Yeah.
boy, that really does lighten up everything. And after
Mm.
that, like, I've had moments where Emmy would just randomly come up to me and just hug me and just like kiss me
Oh
on my
yeah.
head, and she's like, I love special time with you. I love you, mommy.
So good.
And it comes in the moments where I least expect it, and it's so beautiful. I'm like, oh, I know she feels more connected to me. And Michelle, she does differentiate, like, there are plenty of stay-at-home moms like me where we're like, but I am connected to my kid. I'm home all day with them. But in that, like, it's easy for especially the mother, I feel like, to fall into the caretaking role. It's like, I'm there, I'm feeding you, I'm cleaning you, but for Emmy, she doesn't go to bed at the end of the night.
It's like, no, it's so funny because this is reminding me of like both sets of our parents have come before,
Yes.
and Emmy always gravitates towards
My dad and his
grandpa
dad.
or harabaji,
Hubby, yeah.
hubby, because of that very reason, right? Like moms are in the kitchen doing stuff all day, like doing their
Braiding their
hair,
hair,
yeah, like
dressing them, cleaning
cleaning their
them.
diapers, giving them showers, doing everything to like help them to be comfortable, but they don't ever connect,
Yeah.
right? And it's so
Not in
funny.
play, at least.
Not in
Yeah,
play,
yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. So
And it's really funny because one of the pitfalls too, they talk about how, like, as stay-at-home moms, you're with their kid all day, and then your husband walks into the door and you're like, okay, your turn, take the kids. And then the dad comes home and then he plays with them and he like reaps the benefits of our hard work all day long, right? So it really is like, I do understand the significance of the main
yeah,
caretaker to have that special time. And I just want to say, for like the last 2 weeks of me doing this, like, I definitely feel like it's really, yeah, it's taken my relationship with Emmy to a whole new level.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
it's beautiful.
Well, that's a perfect way to end it because Izzy's probably just rolling around crying.
No,
But-
she's not crying.
well, I did hear her cry a little
She
bit.
did, but
But
this is pretty chill of her.
yeah. So anyway, I hope everyone can go have some special time with their kid or yourself. I mean, it's. Thank you for this special time. I think it's.
Yeah, also, side note, I was talking to my counselor and she was talking about maybe you and Brandon need some special time.
Yeah.
Because it works for parents too, right? It's like 20 minutes.
Sure.
I remember we're talking about our next date night and you're like, let's go watch Mission Impossible. And I'm like, okay, so you want to pay for me to sleep in a seat? But for me, I'm like, okay, fine, the next special time, then we get to go eat hot pot because that's like my favorite thing, and Brandon could care less for it.
Okay. I like hot pot. I can just never
He
just.
never gets excited for it.
Well,
He feels like it's not worth the price.
Yes, so that's the main thing. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
if it was like a $15 meal, then I'd be
Yeah.
happy. But it's more like $40 when we actually go to it. So
But I feel like I could eat $40 worth of hot pot. It's
Yes.
worth it for me. Like, I will walk out feeling so disgusted and uncomfortable, but every time it's so worth it. Can we do this again next time?
God. So yeah, we'll figure out a different special time. But thank you for listening. For those of you that did, and even if nobody did, we had a good time doing it.
Sure, it was
High
a good
five.
warm up. Yeah.
Good warm up.
Wait. That is
So loud and annoying. Might have to tone that volume down. But anyway, we're gonna post this on wherever I figure out how to post this. And if you comment, if there's a place to comment on what you chose to do as your special time.
Yeah.
And with who.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
So, love you, and see you on the flippity flop.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.